Troy from Zia Comics here, and I got a special guest. You might recognize him. We've had him on here before. He's right over there. It's Mr. H.H. German.
That's me. Thank you for having me, Troy.
And yeah, no problem. Anytime. And we have you on here for a reason. You want to tell us about it?
That's right. That reason is issue 6 of Here Comes Calico. It's coming right through your front door and leaving out the back with someone in tow.
And probably a lot of blood and injuries on the way.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so you're starting a Kickstarter for issue number 6, right? This is 6 of 8.
That's
You're not
right.
going to put out the 9 or 10, right? It's just going to be 8.
It's just going to be 8 for volume 1. And volume 1, as I mentioned in our last encounter, it was going to be a double issue. So that's going to be the special double issue for issue 8.
It's going to be the giant size Calico.
That's right. That's right. It's going to be power packed, and it's going to be great.
Okay, well, you showed me offline a picture of the cover. I don't know if you can show it to everybody else or not, but I have some questions. Right. Hector looks like he's been rode hard and put up wet in that picture.
Well, let's just say, you already know that one of the pinup people, remember, the volume is called Pinup Gallery. So one of the people he's pinned up is Sarah Bigman. Okay. And we get to meet Sarah Bigman on Hector's computer screen on issue 2 of Here Comes Calico, in issue 2 of Here Comes Calico. And what's going on behind the walls of the Bigman Foods Corporation is some seriously malignant stuff in the way of animals being tortured and just slaughtered in a very inhumane way. Frankly, there's lots of usage of humane, right? When you kill anyone or anything, it's not humane. So it's sort of an interesting usage of the word. But there's a particular breed of a-hole behind the walls of Bigman Food Corporation that are going to be dealt with Calico style. So let's just say Calico finally has enough information by Dog Mama and Fauna Anonymous to get going on this case. Because remember, the Calico is the final part. He's the executor. He's the executive part of an entire process, which is the investigations of animal abuse and cruelty, right? And the Calico just gets the file at the end. Once it meets a certain threshold, he goes after it. I mean, I would say once it hits about, 80, 85%, he's good to go to do what he does the best. So
yeah, he is the tip of the spear. He's got that high-tech suit, and like I said, that suit looks like it's taking a beating, and I gotta think that suit ain't cheap. So does he have a closet full of these things, or?
That's right. That suit is on version 12. So the suit, there's quite a bit of history. We get into the series 8 years in to Calico's tenure, or Hector's tenure as the Calico. So the group at the Fourth Order of St. Assisi's, they've been working, the IT team at least, has been working really hard on revamping that suit over the course of 8 years to the point where it does all of the, nifty things that it does. But Calico is the guinea pig of that suit. We're going to learn what kind of difficulties he's had in the past with it, but let's just keep it at that.
So in issue 6, are
Yes.
you going to introduce more new characters, or are we going to finally see all these guys come together?
Well, let's just say that the characters that we meet in this issue are going to never forget the experience. How's that?
That says a lot without saying anything. So yeah, because you've already in the first 5 issues, we've already introduced enough characters to fill a mini series on TV, man. This is like House of Dragons style characters overload, and I want to see them finally all, because you wouldn't introduce them unless they had a part to play.
Right, exactly.
So I want to see them all, where this is all going to tie in together, because some of these characters are just kind of, they don't seem like they should fit, but obviously they do, or they wouldn't be in there.
Well, listen, We have, as you pointed out, we have quite a few characters, but we still have 3 issues to go, and one of them is a double issue. So when you think about it, there's quite a bit of content coming your way. And as you also know, I pack quite a bit of punch behind each page, so it's no space is unused.
Yeah, that's true. There is a lot of action and a lot of blood and gore. I mean, like we said before, Hector, he doesn't beat around the bush. He gets the
No,
job done by any means necessary.
that's
Um,
right. He
it's, yeah, it's just I don't
Calico.
blowing my mind. All these characters. I'm trying to in my mind figure out how you're going to tie this up with a nice little bow at the end.
Right. The Calico mows down the bush, and he goes right through the front door and leaves out the back, and there's entrails on the trail. Okay, so it's hardcore to the floor. This guy's nonstop. He doesn't stop until he gets, the justice those animals deserve. So, and as I mentioned, he's part of a team. It's his responsibility at the end of the completion of each file to report back and update the file and let the powers that be know that the problem has been resolved, let's just say. So we saw that early on in the series, how he did that onto his phone. We haven't seen it of late, only because we focused more on the actual getting it done part of the story.
I'm glad you mentioned his team, because we've seen all of his adversaries on the page.
Right.
I don't know that. I mean, maybe we did. Maybe they were hidden in the background, and it was a little Easter egg. We haven't, if you count Bumble. So, are we going to see some of his team? Or are these guys going to just stay in the shadows? That CC group, and that, I love that tie-in with Francis of Assisi, with the animals. So,
Right.
are we going to see more of his team, or are they just going to stay in the shadows, mystery type?
All right. So we've already seen Dog Mama, but not her face. We've seen her, but we haven't seen her face. Okay, so we see her, I wouldn't say regularly, but fairly, sprinkled throughout the series. And we know he's in regular contact with Dog Mom. In fact, if there's anyone that the Calico does have regular contact with, it is Dog Mom. Scout made an appearance in issue 4, and she was certainly showed full-bodied, and quite a sight that was, of course. And and that was a treat, of course. And we also have, as you pointed out, Bumble's an incredible asset and resource to the Calico, in addition to Fauna Anonymous, who's also fairly regularly mentioned in the series but never seen. And that goes, that's fairly obvious why that is. They're anonymous, right? Fauna Anonymous. They're hackers. So it is their natural state to be anonymous, to not be around. So with that, and in addition to the fourth order of St. Francis of Assisi, which is the shadowy group that funds the entire operation that the Calico is a part of, that Hector Gill is a part of, that encompasses the team. Now, as you pointed out, we really haven't seen any one of those people by face except for Scout. So, and of course, Bumble, but he's part of the executive team with Calico. But that's what issue 8 is for. We'll see where it all ends and how that ties up.
Okay, and I know you keep referencing volume 1.
Yes.
So that tells me you're already thinking past issue 8. So issue 8, is that going to be the end of Calico? We're not going to see him anymore, or do you have plans for this character to go on to bigger and better things?
Most certainly the latter. The response we've gotten is phenomenal. I mean, just to give you some reference and some perspective here, you are being gracious enough to have us on once again, in this case, to talk about Here Comes Calico issue 6 on Kickstarter, which just debuted yesterday on Kickstarter. We're already at 40% of the goal, 1 day in. Okay, so 1 day in, we're at 40% of the goal. Now, that's not uncommon for really solid titles, especially those that have followings, to get that, to attain that. But as you know, and I'm not sure your audience knows, Here Comes Calico sells out in every city that we go to. We are in different cities doing comic book conventions pretty much every weekend. In 2022, this year, we've been at a show, at a big conference, a big comic book convention, every single weekend of the year except for 3 weekends. So I've had 3 weekends off, and we've hit everything. And at all these shows, we're selling out. Now, name one new comic book that's been able to do that. We're a new comic book that literally is less than 2 years old. We're selling out everywhere. Why doesn't that translate? If we're selling 250, 300, if we're doing 250 and 300 sales, which we are doing every weekend in 3 days, okay, 3-day show, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's typical convention is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If we're selling between 250 and 350-ish sales, okay, which include multiple comics in each sale, okay, which sells out a massive suitcase of 100 pounds. That's the limit, the airline limit, 100 pounds, okay? How is it then that we explain that we can barely meet our Kickstarter goals? We always meet them. We meet them, but not by much. Always, $500 here, 600 but there. We're not doing, we're doing $3,000, $4,000. We're not doing 10, 12, 15, or even 20, 25, which some of them do. Well, it's for a couple of reasons. One, even though we have a very vetted list and, quite voluminous list of about 10,000 people on the list, we still haven't found an email package platform that has 100% deliverability. So what are we getting? We're getting, 20, 30% open rates. And we've tried everything under the sun, Troy. We even tried these special custom packages that are, software packages that are integrated onto your server. And that's the only reason. If we had that capability, we would, I'm not joking right now, and I'm not blinking, we would easily, and I mean very easily be doing high, very high 5-figure and possibly even low 6-figure numbers on Kickstarter. Okay, that's high 5-figure numbers and low 6-figure numbers. I tell you that without blinking, because you can't have a brand new comic book that's doing between 250 and 350 sales. Okay, that's multiple copy sales per weekend. You understand? We're selling 100 pounds of comics in a weekend, 3 days. Who does that? Now, I understand if it's an existing title, it's got decades and decades of back history. We're a brand new comic book. We don't even have 2 years on our belt. We're on issue 6 of our comic book, and we're selling 100 pounds of comics every single weekend. Okay, just one last thing. We went to Comic-Con. We were accepted the very first year we applied. We sold out. Not only did we sell out, but we sold more copies in our row. We were in small press at that show. I'm not going to mention names because I don't want to embarrass any titles, but we know for a fact, and the only reason we know it is because our neighbor next door, who was a very nice guy, fellow, he told us this. There are 2 Kickstarter campaigns, publishers that were in our row, 6-figure Kickstarters. We sold more comics than both of them combined. That's all I have to say. And we're pulling out $3,000-$4,000 when we do Kickstarters. Let us get this email thing figured out, and you'll see how crazy our numbers are going to be.
No, I don't doubt. Like I said, it's a well-written story so far, and the artwork really lends to the story.
Right.
Because if you get the wrong art for your story, it just knocks you right out of the story. But they jive together really well, and I think you just got to get in front of the right set of eyes. Is what the issue is.
You've been right all along. You said that in our very first interview, going back to almost 2 years ago, and that's it. And speaking of, just to further qualify your point that you just raised, we have been very wary of partnering with a distributor, because we know we've done a lot of research. Let's say we've done a lot of research, and we have seen and heard the difficulties and experiences that some of these publishers like ourselves have had with these distributors. Okay, now the distributor landscape, as you know as well, has shaken up quite a bit over the past 2 years that we've entered the space, which is pretty ironic, because literally at the announcement of Sigma Comics. It wasn't more than a few months later, you know, we had some serious disruptions in the, you know, distributor landscape. But this is all to say, Troy, that very recently, and I mean as recent as last week, we had a correspondence with one of the large distributors of comic books in the U.S. And we heard back from them, and you know, it was a fairly templated response, but we're going to assess that situation very well before we proceed, because if we are going to proceed with it, and it almost is a certainty because of the scale of the business right now. We're getting so many orders now just from our website that it is becoming difficult to manage ourselves, and we're going to have to look at a distributor. And I think when you have that, you know, you have shops like yours that carry Here Comes Calico, and other shops are also starting to carry it, and they're starting to reorder in higher volumes, knowing that the thing actually sells really well. But it's at a point where we have to now, we need to partner with a distributor, because we're not going to be able to manage the volume of orders that's coming in is excellent, and it's definitely allowing us to grow. So that's a long way of saying, yes, there's going to be volume 2, and it's going to be, there's definitely going to be a volume 2. There's going to be a trade, and there's going to be some other special things for everyone out there. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, I mean, that's a good problem to have. So I hope you guys get that all ironed out, because getting a major distributor, publisher, pushing the marketing behind it will, I mean, that's just like throwing fuel on the fire. That's going to be, maybe that's going to be the impetus that pushes you guys over the top.
Right. Locally, you know, we're in, we are officially headquartered in Florida, in South Florida, but our actual day-to-day, especially creative engagement, takes place in New York and Brooklyn. And already here we're starting to get local, not only shops, but other retail entities that are selling Here Comes Calico. And they're doing very well with it. I just had a meeting this morning with one of them, and we had a reorder. You know, I was there just to check up on the business. They didn't have one comic. They were sold out already. And you know, had a re-up. So
that's great. Well, like you said, issue 6 is on Kickstarter right now. So
that's it.
What all levels do you guys have on Kickstarter? Are there stretch goals? Or...
Sure, all the good stuff, right? So we have the issue 6 here. Here Comes Calico, issue 6 Kickstarter right now, and it features the usual, along with a lot more stuff. This is really the first time that we've kicked it up a notch. We've got the reader copy. Okay, we also have the collector copy of issue 6. But as part of that, we also have the ability for customers to pick up the whole series as well. And for the first time ever, as part of the order, you could have an add-on, any one of the issues you want, or you can get all of them. Because sometimes people have this scenario happens very often, which is why we did this. We have a scenario where somebody wants to buy, let's say, a holiday gift package for someone, issue 1 through 6 reader copy, okay? But they're missing an issue 5, or they're missing an issue 4 from their collection. So it'd be nice to have them have, just as an add-on, to throw one of our copies on. Now they can do that. So as an add-on, we have all of our comics, as well as posters. We have all sorts of new things like desktop screensavers and wallpapers. What do you call those things? Phone screens and all sorts of different great things. We've also allowed our artists to come in due to popular demand. We've had inquiries as well, people who want to get commissions from our artists to do sketches of the Calico as the popularity of the character increases. And of course, the deluxe package, that's the new thing that we've introduced, which is it has everything we sell for just $100. And it's a great way for customers to support our mission, which is to fight against animal abuse through comics.
Yeah, that's a good point. But you know, some of that money does go to help animal abuse.
That's right.
In the comic book is he's the voice for those without one.
That's right. You know, you're talking about a character who fights against the worst type of person we have. And, you know, it's one thing to bully another person. Okay, you go out and kill or beat other people. Well, that individual is roughly around your size, a few inches shorter or taller. When you are abusing an animal, whether it's by height or by intellect, we are vastly bigger, okay, and more intellectually bigger than our next animal. Doesn't matter what animal you are abusing, you're abusing it because of who you are. You are the most dangerous animal on the planet. You're Homo sapiens. So your mind is much more developed, and there is absolutely no reason for any person to be engaging with any animal in any malignant capacity. Human beings have the capacity for intelligence and love. Okay, and those are the two things we need to apply when it comes to everything on this planet. If you apply intelligence and love to anything and anybody, it's going to be a good thing, and that's what we need in this world that we live in. That's what we're all about, Sigma Comics.
Wow, yeah, it's a good message. You said the Kickstarter opened yesterday. Today is the 26th. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
26th. And it's running for how long?
It'll be up for a month. So it just opened up yesterday. Literally, the doors opened up yesterday, and we're already at 40% of the goal, day one. So we're really excited about that. And again, it speaks to the rising popularity, although deliberate, because frankly I think we should be much more further along. But it's the technology that's held us back. I'm going to say just a couple things about that. One I already mentioned, which is the email capability. Even though we have a very nice vetted list, not everybody's getting those emails. They're going into spam. They're going into Google has now, Gmail has the promotions folder. So most of them are going not in the inbox, and we need our emails to go in the inbox, because if we had, let's just say, if we had anything over 70% of our emails going into inboxes, we would be easily high five figure numbers in Kickstarter, and possibly even low six figures. The other part is being found on Kickstarter. You'd think a project that fights against animal abuse would definitely receive the coveted projects we love label from Kickstarter, but no, my friend, we're buried at the bottom of Kickstarter. And it's very, when we look at our reports, we see a tiny piece of the pie coming in from Kickstarter, and all of it's us. We're basically making them rich, so all the people that we're marketing to are going to Kickstarter and supporting us. We're giving them more Kickstarter signups and customers. And so again, we've been doing this. This is our 6 comics on Kickstarter. You'd think by now somebody'd say, hey, this is a really great cause, and they're fighting animal abuse through comics, and the money, we're working with charities here to fight this social ill. Nope. Instead, we have some pretty questionable projects up there that are right up at the top, and you look at them, you're like, how on earth, how possibly? But listen, God bless them. We're not going to be in any way envious of that. All I'm saying is that we most certainly could be helped if they wanted to. This could be a much better response on Kickstarter. But they keep us for whatever reason on the bottom. So we'll put our head down and work as hard as we're going to work, because that's what we're all about. So
yeah,
no complaint.
Your grassroots approach is actually working. I ran into you at a couple of the cons that we go to.
Right.
So I know you're out there. That it's not just lip service. You're actually out there doing it.
Yeah.
The audience will come. I mean, if
that's
you
right.
Keep away, the audience will eventually come. It may take
absolutely
a little, but you're going to get them.
Absolutely. We have absolutely no doubt. I mean, we're seeing it every day. This was not to gripe or anything. It's just to convey the realities of our situation. If we had the actual support of Kickstarter, we would be a top selling comic book on Kickstarter. For whatever reason, they decide to, put us in places where nobody can really find us. That's actually on Kickstarter. So we're going to put our head down, like I said, and put our hands up and put out the Calico message. And as you pointed out, we will see the results. And I know for a fact, because we're already seeing it. The hard work pays off. And especially when you have love and passion and a great quality product, that's what we have. And here comes Calico. People like yourself too, Troy, who are very passionate about the book. You realize how, the quality of the book. You realize that this thing is hitting on all cylinders. It's one thing for a comic book for you to like a comic book. But when you have hundreds of people, thousands of people, as soon as they engage with, again, this is a brand new comic book. If you, it takes a while to build an audience, but we're getting a phenomenal response everywhere we go. We're selling 100 pounds of comics every weekend, and there's nothing more exciting to hit in a new city that you've never even been to, and being welcomed with open arms, and it's just super fun to be out there.
Okay, and the next, you said they can see you at Baltimore Comic-Con this weekend.
Right, Baltimore.
Yeah, and you can tell all those guys up there to go to your Kickstarter. That's like, I'll put it in the description here, the link, and yeah, guys, go support the Kickstarter. They're going to hit their goal, but let's push them to a couple of stretch goals.
Right.
Let's make HH think of a few more stretch goals. Let's push past what he's got listed up there. And yeah,
you tell him, Troy.
I want to see this thing all the way to 8, and
that's right.
And that's how it's going to happen. So go and support this on Kickstarter, guys.
That's right. And one more thing, you know, there's a method to this madness. It's literally crazy to think about what I just said. I've had 3 weeks off this year. Okay. There's a reason why I'm doing that. You know, we wouldn't be doing that if the thing wasn't a hit, if it wasn't selling. So if you know for a fact that you've got a hit comic book, an opportunity to read a hit series, go for it, man or gal. You know, roll up your sleeves, roll up those comics, and put them in your back pocket, because this is a rough and tumble series. Troy can tell you better than anyone. He's ridden the highs and lows, and it's fun. It really is a blast working on the title. Everybody who works on the title, and I give a shout out to Renato Pinto, our interior artist, Garna Biel, our cover artist, Danielle Grimaldi, our colorist. Behind the scenes, we have Casey, Stephanie, and all the great people that make Here Comes Calico from Sigma Comics be the series that it is. Go on Kickstarter and do a search for Here Comes Calico. You're going to love issue 6 and the rest of the series. It's very affordable. And folks, the money you give goes to fighting animal abuse. There's nothing better. There's no better way than fighting animal abuse through comics. And it's because you get entertainment and you get a kick butt hero who brings in the goods. You know, above and beyond its entertainment, it's true entertainment. It's satisfaction. Okay, I was talking to someone recently about what they derive from reading our comic book, and what he came away with was he is left utterly satisfied every single time he picks up this book. It's a true delight and pleasure when you pick up something that you really enjoy, whether it's food, a song, whatever piece of art that impacts you, and establishes that aesthetic experience, as we call in the arts, that thing that just leaves you, whoa, sort of mesmerized by it. We deliver that every single time for a very small fee. Our comic books are very affordable. So, you know, pre-orders, I think, are only $6 for the comic book. And then, of course, if you do the ordering, it's even cheaper. But the pre-order gives you so many other things like signed copies and stickers and posters and whatnot. So it's just a great value. And again, you're fighting animal abuse through comics. So you really can't beat that. So go on Kickstarter and get it done for the team at Sigma Comics and all animals that we support.
Agreed. So there you have it, guys. Go support issue number 6, Here Comes Calico, so that we can get issue 7 and 8 right after that. Thanks for joining us, HH.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. And thank you for your support on our fight against animal abuse.
Always, always. And until next issue.